Hey guys, we're going to be going over what is AI automation specifically for business owners for you to stop wasting time. So you're going to get a general understanding of how it works and where to start implementing AI into your business. To give you background on me, my name is Jethro Casey. I'm an AI automation agency owner along with two founders. So just to give you an idea of where the whole AI landscape is right now. So ChatGPT really came around in 2022. If you're even watching this video, you're way ahead of everybody else in the marketplace in terms of even thinking about how can you leverage AI for small businesses. So I look at AI as an opportunity to leverage technology to automate processes for your business. And what I mean by that is every 10 years or so, there's a new technology that disrupts the marketplace. If you think about in the 90s when the internet came out, the 2010s when social media came out and came with both of those one websites, and those who were able to get on to websites, leverage brands or build a brand online, even commit to like things such as e-commerce, had a competitive advantage. Now websites are normalized, right? Pretty much every business has one. And then same thing with social media. The first people to really make a move on social media reap the huge benefits, not to mention all like the social media marketing agencies, which were able to help small business owners. So myself being an AI automation agency owner, I saw the opportunity to leverage AI in terms of helping small businesses. So how can we just stop wasting time with manual tasks? That's really the biggest issue that AI solves. So instead of thinking of AI specifically as ChatGPT, that's a form of AI, but there's also things such as AI automations. And here's the hard truth, if you're listening to this as a small business owner, is that if you're still doing tasks manually that AI could already automate, you're pretty much falling behind because the technology is here. It's more so understanding how can you implement it. But there's some good news. If you don't have a technical expertise or coding background, don't worry, neither do I, is that you don't need an expert to be automating things in your business. So the barrier for entry is extremely low with AI automation. And I'm going to be breaking down now exactly how it works for small businesses and three real examples that could save you 10 plus hours a week starting today. So stick around and I'll even show you how I automated a few things in my business in the next episode. And AI automation in simple terms is, think of it as being like a digital assistant that never sleeps, never forgets, and never works and never gets bored. So it's basically like an AI worker. So you pay it a one-time fee in a sense, or you pay it continually depending on how many things it's processing at a time. But basically the difference between regular automations, which is something, if you think about, if somebody sends you over an email, it's automatically going to be forwarded and sent to you, to AI automations, is that AI are systems that make decisions, can summarize, personalize, and adapt to its environment. So AI is just more intelligent. If you think of like AI, if automation is the train track, AI is the conductor deciding which train path that it would go down next. So the main reason I've noticed from speaking to countless business owners on why they're struggling to understand is AI is that they think they either need to know how to code, that it's only for big company, that it might replace their team, or how can they have conversations to their team about AI. And in reality, most AI automations today are either completely no code, meaning you don't need to have any programming experience, or low code, meaning you need to have some programming experience. Just to give you an idea on my background, I have no coding background. I'm working with a software developer who handles that, but even the tools that he's using to develop these AI systems, these AI automations, you don't really need to code. Like he tells me, it's much easier to just go in and create something basic from scratch when he spent like 6 years learning how to actually become a software developer and work at Amazon. And the main benefit it really gives to small businesses is that you have a smaller team, but you're actually able to output more. So AI just allows your inputs to be focused on what truly matters to free your team to do higher value work. So a real world example of something that we've helped a small business for is that we are working with a nonprofit, and we developed an AI grant writing assistant. And if you're not too familiar with the grant writing process, just think of a long, like 60-page document with all these different requirements. And before without AI, what you would have to do is you'd have to go through the document, read it, understand how this correlates specifically to your nonprofit's vision, and basically manually have to type everything out and write everything. But now using an LLM, which is basically like you could think of a brain, a Chat GPT or a Claude or a Perplexity, whatever AI model you want to use, insert there, is that it allows us to shrink that, I'll say 40-hour work week process to something that saves 10 hours per submission. So the results of that AI powered grant writing assistant, it actually freed up 10 plus hours per submission of what would usually take 40 hours to get through the door to just barely make it through in terms of the grant writing process, but some other ideas on what you can be leveraging AI for in your business. And these are more general. It's either sales, operationally, or customer support is like the three things I want to break it down to because that's what most businesses function in. So in terms of simple for sales, it's like a lead follow-up automation is that AI would draft, like let's say you finish a meeting. AI would draft and send personalized follow-ups to every client that you're speaking with. So let's say you have XYZ, so XYZ action points after the call. Instead of having to manually send that email, AI can automatically have that first touch point and then continue to follow up with the client until you get what you need. So a third thing is that just in terms of like customer support, is that there's these also, and this depends on what business you're in, right? You're working with this speaker who has a community of, I believe, like 50 to 100 people, and he teaches them basically how to become a speaker and develop your own speaking business and your own presentation. So in that, a lot of people need support on how to speak, what emails to send, basically like everything on how to start a business, right? And he's not able to actually attend to everybody's individual needs like that, even though they have like their one-on-one coaching calls every once in a while. It's not as to the level that everybody needs. So what we developed and what you can also work on is developing basically like an AI version of you. So if you do have like a community or you have a small team where people are constantly asking you questions repetitively and you notice like a trend, something that you can do is basically develop a RAG system and it's not that complicated. I mean, what a RAG means, it's a retrieval augmented generator. So basically it has its database of all this information. For him, it was all of his books, all of his email templates, everything that he knows in his brain to be a speaker and what you need to be successful. So we put that into, you could think of like a chat GPT, for example, not actually, but we put it into something similar to chat GPT. So now whenever you go and talk to this AI, it was for somebody called Mills. So AI Mills bot, you would go ahead and say like, hey, what is the best way how do I know what schools or universities to reach out to? And it would generate you an answer as if you were speaking to him. And this may sound like complicated and like that's not really relevant to my business. The advice I would give to any small business owner is that if you've done the same task 3 times this week, especially if it's done more than 3 times this week, you should consider automating it. And how can we actually start without getting overwhelmed in AI? So one, I would say just list repetitive tasks that you personally hate doing. Something that you need to do, right? It's manually, it's a manual for the business, it's necessary for the business, but you hate doing it. And then pick one small workflow to automate first. And I would recommend using, honestly, before you even get into like some low code or no code tools, really just playing around with Chat GPT to see what you can automate from that process. After there, I would recommend using things such as like make.com or N8N, but I would honestly encourage you to not being focused on how can you automate your business overnight and transform into an AI automation business, right? But on how can you just save time now. And we'll be going over the first step in the AI automation process and really like programming AI to understand what you specifically need, because we speak to AI as if you would speak to a human. And the best way to and there's a process called prompt engineering, which is the best way to increase the efficiency and output of something that you're using as ChatGPT, which is what most business owners are familiar with. So on the next episode, I'm going to be going over prompt engineering. What is it? Why is it important? And especially how can you leverage it as a business owner? So if you want me to take a look at your business, break it down and give you some 2 to 3 AI automation ideas that you can go ahead and implement this month, you can go ahead and book a free AI audit with me down in the comments below. Again, I will be seeing you guys next episode to give you an understanding of prompt engineering. Thank you.